Miami's in the win column is the first ACC team and the first Power 5 team to take the field in 2020. This very unusual 2020 season as the Canes took down UAB at Hard Rock Stadium 31-14. MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, breaking down the game that I could keep track of, but I wasn't able to watch it play after play after play after play and to analyze it. So I was able to keep track of it, watch most of the plays, but not able to really analyze the game. So we're going to go through it here and check out the Canes win over UAB. They went down 7-0, came back. Close game most of the way throughout this contest, but Miami was dominant in the third quarter, scoring on 3 consecutive possessions to stretch out a lead that was 17-14 and win going away 31-14. All right. So let's look at the recap first, and of course, I'll take your comments and phone calls as well if you'd like to call in. Cam Harris ran for 134 yards in the game, scored twice. Miami 31-14 on Thursday night over UAB. Of course, this is a Blazers team, again, that on one hand, you need to give them some respect and credit this as a solid Miami win because the Blazers had a game the last 2 years, winning in 2018, falling in 2019. On the other hand, keep in mind that as we talked about and reviewed the other night, UAB in playing, I won't even say great or elite teams around college football, but very good teams, the likes of Texas A&M, Mississippi State, and Florida, since they've come back to playing football after being out in 2015 and 16, have not necessarily fared well. So this was not a UAB program or a team, despite them playing at the top rung of Conference USA, that has competed with the best teams in the Power 5, or even quality teams, not the best teams, but decent teams, good teams in the Power 5. They've typically lost those games by anywhere from 20 to 30 points. So what Miami did on Thursday night was take care of business. Were they overwhelming? Were they polished in every facet? Of course not. Again, I think most of us understand because of the issues in preparing teams for this season, some of the play is going to be spotty, of course, and these athletes are competing against each other, so not everyone can look great. Harris's second touchdown run from 4 yards out late in the third period gave Miami a 24-14 lead after the Blazers of Conference USA got within 3 on Spencer Brown's 6-yard run. Houston graduate transfer De'Aaron King, of course, he's the guy, the headliner, the guy that everyone wanted to see, and he had the spotlight on him more than anybody else in trying to improve Miami quarterback play that has not been good since Brad Kaya, and Brad Kaya, of course, didn't bring this kind of skill set. King threw for a touchdown pass. He scored one for Miami on the ground. That was an impressive run up the middle for a touchdown in the first half. Became the first school from a Power 5 conference to begin the game depleted 2020 season, as we mentioned, with the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 12 in play. The Big 10 and the Pac-12 have canceled. Manny Diaz stated after the game, couldn't be more proud of our players, just everything we did to get us to this day, did everything we asked during the summer. We kept each other safe. We gave us the opportunity to play today. Okay, typical coach speak comments. Miami debuted its spread offense under new offensive coordinator Red Lashley with 337 yards rushing and 493 total yards of offense. I have not checked that against what UAB, again, has given up against Power 5 opponents in the past couple of years, but the point total was pretty much in the ballpark. I was not impressed with the Canes' performance offensively in the first half, but they kicked it into gear in the second half. That my impression, again, without analyzing play for play, but keeping track of the drives. King said we have to pass the ball better moving forward, but running the ball and keeping the defense off balance is the key to our success. So I would share that sentiment that the Miami offensive line was impressive in run blocking, not necessarily all the time in pass blocking, and the connection between quarterback and wide receiver and Brevin Jordan made plays, certainly in the passing game. King missed an awful, what would have been a touchdown throw in the first half, late in the first half, in which he was went play action and he was rolling right and he had a wide open receiver. It was a short throw and he was rolling right and did what a lot of quarterbacks do if they're not focused and squaring their shoulders, is he let it sail badly on a play that was wide open, and the Canes had to kick the field goal. He had a 4-yard touchdown pass to Brevin Jordan with time expiring in the third quarter, gave Miami its final margin. I can't really keep that play in mind. I must have seen it. Miami snapped a 7-7 tie and took the lead for good on King's 12-yard touchdown run early in the second quarter, and he had a number of plays in which he was seemingly trapped in the backfield for a sack, broke loose, and picked up key conversions for first downs. Jose Borregales, 25-yard field goal in the Hurricanes' first possession of the second half, increased their lead to 17-7. So it was not a game in which Borregales showed whether Miami's field goal kicking would be better this season. Of course, it was only 1 year ago in the opener, and this time last year, I was in Orlando myself for the Miami-Florida game. There was a missed field goal from short distance in that one in the first half, one of the first drives of the game, and also Bubba Baxa missed a field goal in the second half. I believe 2 missed field goals for the Canes against the Gators last year, a game that they lost by 6, of course. The Blazers 1-1 struck first on Tyler Johnston's 16-yard touchdown pass to Austin Watkins with 2:40 remaining in the first quarter. The lead was short-lived. Cam Harris, 66-yard run on the next drive for the touchdown. Miami opted to go for it on a 4th-and-1 at its 34, and Harris broke through the UAB line untouched for the longest touchdown run of his career. I didn't know that at the time that I saw the play. 4th-and-1. So Diaz and the crew went for it. 4th-and-1 at its own 34. Down 7-0. This makes no sense now to those of you who only look at the conclusion, only look at the result, but I don't necessarily agree with that play, that call. Not the play call, but the call to go for it. Down 7-0, 2 minutes left in the first quarter at your own 34. 4th-and-1. I would have to see how long the 1 was. Harris says, shout out to the O-line. I had to be patient. I saw the crease. I hit it and was gone. Despite getting the go-ahead to play this season, Miami will be without highly regarded defensive end Greg Rousseau, projected as a high NFL draft choice next spring. Rousseau opted to sit out. UAB coach Bill Clark told a Birmingham radio station that a few of his reserves tested positive for coronavirus and did not make the trip to South Florida. I just left the locker room with a bunch of guys that are dejected, but we talked about not getting our heads down, Clark said. I was really proud of the effort. You know, we are not into moral victories. We came to win the game. Thursday's attendance was 8,153, 8,153 at Hard Rock Stadium. I was going to say, I kept hearing during the game broadcast that they were allowing 13,000 at the game, so it fell short of the 20% cap allowed at the 65,000-seat venue in compliance with coronavirus social distancing guidelines. Spectators were scattered throughout the stadium's lower and upper decks. Once the game started, you're so wrapped up in the game, Diaz said. The environment was a little different. This is the first major sporting event in Dade County since mid-March. We're happy to have fans that we had. Comments from all of you. Let's see what we've got for our special 3 a.m. edition. Mr. HD, we'll be fine, Mark. Lashley didn't open up the whole playbook just yet. Yes, Mr. HD, I would say 337 rushing yards. That's impressive against anyone. And again, for UAB, we're talking about an opponent that I would expect to land around 70 to 75. If everybody was playing and we had all 130 teams in the FBS, they're in the 70 to 75 range. They're in the 70 to 75 range, something like that in college football. And let's see. So we've got 38 teams in the Power Five. We've got Notre Dame included, 39. We have the Group of Five included. We probably have about minus MAC Mountain West. That is, 28 teams. Big Ten makes 42. Pac-12 makes 54. We're down to about 75 teams. About half the teams aren't playing. We're down to about 75 teams. And so I would say UAB is probably in the 55 to 60 range of the teams that are playing, and in college football, about 75th. Most likely in that range. So that's who Miami beat. And I'm saying that very objectively, not to criticize the win, and not also to pump up and hype the win. I think Miami did what they should have been expected to do against this team, and that is be clearly the better team. But they weren't dominant. They didn't just blast them, blow them out. It wasn't 35-0 at half. It was a pretty close game. It was competitive until late third quarter, early fourth quarter. But Miami was clearly the better team and dominated statistically over a quality opponent, quality Group of Five opponent. Not at the high end of the Group of Five, but a good team. A capable team that, again, over the last few years has typically had this type of effort against a Power 5 team. They have not come close to beating a Texas A&M, Mississippi State, or Florida, the teams that they played recently. All right, also missing Hurricanes in this game, in addition to Russo, of course, backup offensive lineman Kyleon Herbert and Zalante Hillary have opted to sit out the season. Backup quarterback Tate Martell was suspended for the opener because of a violation of team rules. Tate Martell, who's not going to play anyway. Can't stay clean, I guess. UAB's got South Alabama next on the road. Keep in mind, South Alabama upset Southern Miss 32-21 in their opener as a 2-touchdown underdog. And now this is going to be interesting. Miami will have 2 extra days to prepare for Louisville on the road September 19th. Miami posted its best offensive game of the season last year in defeating Louisville 52-27. The Cardinals coming in at 8-5. They've got a date against a pretty good Western Kentucky team that I believe finished at 9-4 last year. So Louisville cannot look past Western Kentucky coming up on Saturday, and they will have 2 less days to prepare for Miami. Canes at the Cardinals. Interesting matchup. Can't wait for that one. Miami at Louisville, September 19th, next Saturday. All right. Alex Smith, yes, we'll be okay. It's just the first game, and everyone was thinking too much, but we'll be fine. Yes, Hurricane Kilo, it is the voice of college football. Thank you so much for joining. 22 on the line at this rare hour, but this is what we're forced to do tonight because of my work situation. Number one ND fan. Did y'all see the Chiefs fans boo the stuff before the game? Crazy. I saw something about that. I'm not going to comment because I don't know the circumstances necessarily across the board. Canesbot, I feel like things could have been better, but they changed up something on us, but we will be good. Number one ND fan has Miami going 6-5. Please check out my video that was posted earlier today, or maybe yesterday, whenever, Tuesday or Wednesday. I posted my video going through every Miami game, and I designated wins and losses. Please check it out. Please like this video. Canespot, hope all is well, Mark. Everyone hit that like button. Canespot right with me, in sync. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button, even if you don't agree with my analysis, If you enjoy what we do here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, which is bring you college football content, discussion, debate, and analysis every day, please hit the like button. Also, share these videos on social media. Keep in mind that while all of you know that we're going to be here every day to talk college football, that millions of college football fans out there have no idea we exist, have no idea that the voice of college football is here to talk college football every day, call-in shows, analysis, the greatest live chat in college football right here. So please let folks know on social media. Mark Thibodeau, Michigan fan. I didn't think Miami would cover. Anyway, did you tell your loyal fans that you would be on YouTube right now? I just checked in by accident. I enjoy your takes. Go Blue. No, I didn't know and didn't tell anyone because I didn't know, Mark. I did not know until the last second. My work schedule is a bit fluid overnight, so I was able to get out a little bit earlier than usual and wanted to make sure that we hit on the first Power 5 game of the season. UAB's offensive line was pushing Miami around at will. Really? Let's go to the rushing stats and the entire stats. The team stats look like this. First downs, Miami 25-14. Third down efficiency, Miami 7 of 17, which is much better than what they performed most of last year. UAB 3 of 15. So good number for the Miami defense there, holding UAB to 3 of 15. Fourth down efficiency, Miami 2 for 2. Total yards, this is what you'd like to see. This is not a total annihilation, obliteration, again, 35-0 at half kind of game. UAB hung in definitely for one half, and then even into the fourth quarter, they had a shot, 24-14. But 495 to 285 is borderline dominance, especially when UAB led in passing 205 to 158 and had to throw the ball in the fourth quarter. Miami held UAB to 19 out of 35. If they can do that against quality competition, hold them to almost down to 50% passing. UAB only ran for 80 yards. Only 80 yards on 26 carries. Of course, that includes sacks as well. I hate that statistic about college football. Miami ran for 337 on 52 attempts, 6.5 per carry. De'Ara King, 16 of 24 for 144 passing. 1 touchdown, no picks. He ran for 83 on 12 attempts, 1 touchdown. N'Kosi Perry came in for garbage time. UAB made one call that drove me nuts. No, they weren't going to win the game, but with 4.5 minutes left in the game, down 31-14. They're at the Miami, they're around midfield. They're about the 50-yard line. 4th and 4. I don't care if it was 4th and 44, but 4th and 4, down 17, 4.5 minutes left. UAB punted. That is a loser's mentality. You just threw the white flag. You gave up. We're punting on 4th and 4 at midfield with 4.5 minutes left in the game, down 17. Who knows? You throw a slant, maybe the kid's off to the races, and you've just cut the lead to 10 with 4:15 left in the game. Or you get the first down, and within 3 plays, you score. You've got another 35 to 40 yards to go. That's it. You're not at your own 1-yard line. And even then, I still go for it. If I've got a chance to win the game, I go for it. I don't care if I lose by 24 instead of 17. That's a loser's mentality. The UAB coach, Coach Clark, does a fine job, has resurrected this program. very respected in the sport, but that is a loser's call. You don't do that. I, I just can't even fathom. There is no defense for that. None. The defense some people will make, as did State of the U when I tweeted this, that they weren't going to win anyway. I understand they weren't going to win anyway. Most likely. Don't tell me that there haven't been teams that have come back from 17 down with 4.5 minutes left. Is it rare? Of course it's rare, but you don't punt on 4th and 4 with the ball at midfield down 17-7 or down by 17 with 4.5 minutes left. That's just inexcusable. You were telling your team, we are losers. We are not going to give this a go. It's pathetic. I can't even get past pathetic. Pathetic, a complete loser's mentality. I wish I could explain it even more descriptively than that. I don't have the words to explain how much that bothers me. What is the defense for doing that? You're afraid to lose 38-14. Really? If you're at your own 1 yard line, if it's 4th and 50 at your own 1, except for the argument that you may have a better chance of punting and getting a fumble than making 4th and 50. I'm being ridiculous with 4th and 50. But 4th and 4? If it's 4th and 14, I'm still going for it because I play to win. Sorry, Herm Edwards, to steal your words. I hate to be cliched because people love that. They love to quote Allen Iverson and Herm Edwards and Jim Mora. But that's why you're out there, to do everything you possibly can, even when the odds are down to 0.1%, to win the game, not to give up and punt. What does punting do? It's awful. James Scott, not thrilled with the overall performance. However, the end result I'll take. Hurricane Kilo, Kane's first game of new system off season was short. We will be okay. Number 1 ND fan, can somebody explain the offsides call inside the 10 before UAB scores? The announcers tried to explain it. I couldn't tell if it was really an effective move or if the refs messed up. If it's the same play I'm thinking of, I thought for sure, okay, UAB's inside the 10. I believe it's 3rd down. Their right tackle jumped out of his stance. And I thought for sure it was illegal procedure, or a false start, I should say. And they called it on Miami. And even after watching the replay, I did not see Miami jump offsides. I saw nobody, unless they were lined up offsides, and it was just a bad camera angle because they didn't really show the close down the line angle, down the line of scrimmage. They showed the upper deck shot, and I couldn't tell unless Miami was lined up offsides. I didn't see anybody jump. If that's the play you're referring to, I thought that was a bad call, or I missed something there. Mark Thibodeau, I love watching college football games. However, Miami is not going anywhere this year. They may one game over 500, which would be 6-5. My prediction is posted. Please check it out. James Scott, moral victory. UAB really only had one drive. The first score was deep in Miami's territory after Pope's fumble on a punt. That I did not catch, so I didn't know how that's set up in terms of their first touchdown. Just knew that they scored. Okay. Refs messed it up. It appeared so. Ovo, I'll happily take the win. We'll clean up the rest. Ovo, here's the big welcome. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Would love to know who you root for. Got to be the Canes. Check. How long you've been watching. Want to check that box as well. James Scott, I will say this. Once Miami took the lead, the Canes never yielded it. Sure. Dante, good to see you. So we're clear. Miami could have executed at a higher level. There was still a stench of medium-level preparation in the Canes play tonight. Got to sure up the attention to details. Vanilla for a reason. Back to Thibodeau. Michigan's president spoke way, way too early. He shut down football, but mark my words, Harbaugh and his team will play, even though they will start a little late. A little late's fine. A little late's fine. I have calculated that as late as October 24th would be fine for the Big Ten to play. You could play 10 games in 12 weeks, and your champion could play in the college football playoff on time with a week off prior to the playoff game. October 24th. Mark your date. That's the last date for the Big Ten to be able to get on the field and play a reasonable season, unless they get out there and play 6 or 7 games, and the College Football Playoff Selection Committee is okay with that, with Ohio State most likely being the one team that can get away with it if they're dominant for 6 or 7 games. I hope you're right, Mark. It's not looking great. They need to get moving. Somebody needs to, well, a lot of people, I should say, are really putting on the heat as much as possible. Kudos and congratulations, and my highest admiration for players, coaches, and parents across the Big Ten for doing all they can to try to stir up some sensibility among these presidents who are hell-bent on not playing despite all the evidence that points in the other direction, and cutting off their right and left arm, right and left legs for the future health of Big Ten football. James Scott, you love this hour. If I do a lot of rubbing of the eyes, it's the contacts after they've been in all day. Dennis, good to see you. Hope you enjoyed the win tonight. From north to south, we really knocked them out. Okay. Dante to Mark Thibodeau. Got some bold opinions about Miami. Sit back and watch. Thank you, James. James has been a great, and I underline great, supporter of our channel. I hope everybody that's watching right now is subscribed as well. That way you get the bell for the notifications and know when we go live. And you just support us. College football, Jared, same thing every year. Canes are back. Relevance according to Miami fans until they're not. This remains to be seen. Next game, Jared, will be a huge step for Miami. Not that Louisville's an elite team. I believe that there's been too much hype heaped on Louisville this offseason, coming off an 8-5, which was a remarkable improvement over Bobby Petrino's dumpster fire in his final season. I was the one who sat here and said Scott Satterfield's the third best coach in the ACC at this point last year, and people laughed at me. And that Mac Brown was the second best coach in the ACC, and people laughed at me since he had been out of it for 6 years, and he was an old man and retired and should have stayed in retirement. And here we are. Louisville football is back to being good. Let's go with that word, good. Until we see more out of Louisville. Playmakers on offense, smart coaching staff, tremendous head coach, awful defense. But we outlined Louisville football the other night on our ACC live show. So if you want to get set for Saturday for the rest of ACC football, check out our live stream from the other night. 2.5 hours solid of nothing but ACC talk. Jonathan, good to see you. Miami looked the same. Defense is not good. Thought the defense was pretty good. The pass rush was hitting home. They only gave up 80 yards rushing. I think the defense looked pretty good. Lamar, I'm up this late because I work all night. And I had to get analysis of this game in because we've got a vision. It's the voice of college football. We have to grind. Mark, Jim Harbaugh is the most powerful person who works for the U of M. What he says and wants goes. Well, that's the same for every football coach in America. Almost every football coach in America is the most powerful person at their university. They make the most money. Hurricane Kilo, they sleeping on you, Mark, but the world will know your name. Well, I hope so. More importantly, just know that we deliver what we want to one day be the greatest in college football talk. That's the aim. That's the mission. Yeah, Greg Ferguson, sacks should count toward passing yardage as they do in the NFL, not against the particular passer, but total passing yardage. So when Tom Brady throws for 300 yards and he gets sacked for 55, he is still thrown personally for 300 yards, but the passing yardage is for whatever the number I just threw out there, 245. College football makes no sense in its stats because you can't trust the rushing numbers, because a team may run 25 times for 100 yards and their quarterback got sacked 37 yards in losses on 6 sacks. And so suddenly 25 carries for 100 yards becomes 31 carries for 63 yards, which looks awful. So 25 carries, 100 yards is pretty effective at 4 yards per carry. 31 for 63 is 2 yards per carry. It's awful. James, I love that sacks are considered loss of rushing yards. If the quarterback scrambles, does he get passing yards? I understand that's a good point, especially with more quarterbacks running these days. But it's still an intended pass. And when we think about a team defending the run, we think of rushing plays and the defense's effectiveness in defending what are attempted rushes. The very positive thing I saw from UM is that offensively they were able to create easy yards. In the past, their offense made every inch seem like it was so hard to get. Good point. I noticed the same thing, Lamar. Sack shouldn't count against rushing yards unless the quarterback leaves the pocket. Lamar, they'll do well to build their offense around the playmaking ability of King. What they did in the past only works if they have the better O-line and just better player than the other team in general, which they have not had the better offensive line. UAB gave up. Mark, hardest working guy ever, technical technician. Hopefully I'm just one of the hardest working, and hard work is needed, but more is needed. Talent, skill, creativity, ingenuity, you guys are needed. This channel only grows because of all of you. I was doing the same thing 5 years ago with 50 subscribers that I'm doing right now with 21,000. That's because of you. So thank you. I appreciate the compliment, technical technician. I don't believe I'm the hardest working guy out there, but I'm in the upper half. Let's say that. 100 hours a week is quite a bit. Kenny B, I would have liked to have seen more passes in space, and the defense has to create turnovers. Keep in mind also that the offense did not turn the ball over, and I thought the pass rush was on point most of the night. I thought the two quarterbacks for UAB did not have a whole lot of time to throw most of the time. Yes, Hurricane Kilo, we dropped 2 picks tonight. We got to fix that. Yes, those are rare opportunities. You're not going to catch everyone all season, but you need to catch 75% of them. not drop 2. And I don't believe they picked off a pass. No. I'm going to be really picky here, but there was a ball that De'Ara King fired, and they had a great shot of him behind the center, so behind King, and he was flush to his left. He didn't run, but he just backpedaled to his left, and he was looking for Brevin Jordan, and he waited and waited and waited and could see how he was going to clear. And then he threw, it wasn't a beautiful pass because it was wobbly, but he threw a dart. He really got into it right over the linebacker between 2 defenders, and it was just too hot to handle. Tough catch, but still a drop. It was about there on Brevin Jordan. And it was on 3rd and 19, I believe, and would have converted the first down. Technically, in my book, it's a drop. It's not a horrible drop. Mark, a great coach, quickly corrects his major mistakes. Yep. Technical. Mark, I just don't see any Miami progress since last year. It's going to be a long year. Well, I would take into consideration the offseason has been difficult for everyone. I would also take into consideration that, as some people have mentioned here, the playbook could have been partially closed for this one. And also keep in mind that Louisville's coming up. This Louisville game is going to tell us a lot. This Louisville game is going to tell us 10 times more than the UAB game. The UAB game could only tell us mostly negative. Had they struggled, had they lost, of course, that would have been awful. Or had they struggled to win, then that would have told us more than, okay, this is a capable win. This is a confident, solid win. Wasn't 45-0, but 31-14, and it was a 31-14 kind of game. Sometimes I will give you the final score and I'll say, I watched the game and this was not a 31-14 game. This was a tight game, and it was 17-14 with 5 minutes left, and then they tacked on 2 meaningless touchdowns that widened the gap. Or 31-14, it was 31-0, and then the other team tacked on 2 touchdowns late that really didn't matter, and this was more of a blowout. This was a 31-14 game, legitimately. That was indicative of how much better Miami was than UAB. Welcome to the channel. Yes, James, thank you for welcoming everyone. We're coming up on somebody that I'm not completely aware of here, Henry Rios. Henry, welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Please subscribe. Play to the level of our competition. Level of play should elevate versus Louisville. It needs to. My line was 41-14, so not too bad with a shortened spring and summer camp. I missed my first prediction of the year at minus 15.5. I was in good shape for most of the game, but of course, UAB let me down late. I went with a plus 15.5. Of course, Miami to win outright. Was looking at my prediction numbers today. I posted those on the community portion of our channel here. 171 and 127 against the spread. That's 57.4% last year. We were at just under 80% straight up against the money line. 246 and 65. Number 1 Indy fan. Mark, don't narc me out to Indy, but I bought somebody's student ticket and ID to get into our home games. Your secret is safe with me. Number 1 Indy fan. We only have 49 on the line, but hopefully thousands will watch. And then once this is put into the archives and millions will watch in the future, I can't be responsible for that. I didn't expect it to be impressive. You look slow and sloppy in the beginning. Kenny is predicting that Manning will have to take over the defensive calls by week 6. Sandra, good to see you in the chat, even though we're talking Miami and UAB. We're really focused on the Blazers, though. Sandra comes in to say, go Bucks. Sandra, just joining us recently. I would love to know, Sandra, how long you've been watching. I see you're an Ohio State fan. We've got a few of those around. But how long you've been watching? I'm just always curious. Austin Canes, what's up, Mark? Can't sleep, up late. Well, working till 4 o'clock in the morning. So I came home, and of course, we've got college football. So this is what I do. We talk college football. And especially since we've got a large Miami contingent. Had this been anybody in the Power 5, I would be still sitting here bringing you post-game. And full disclosure off the top was that I had the game on at my desk. I had to be working, so I wasn't analyzing it. Typically, the games I do instant analysis of, got the old notepad. I'm big on the notepads. And I'm charting plays and taking notes, and then I deliver my post-game analysis. Was not able to do that, so I don't have great in-depth insight, but I was tracking the game. We hope to have Cam Underwood on from State of the U on Saturday. And again, the contacts are driving me nuts a little bit, so bear with me. Okay. Technical technician believes college football is better when the Canes are relevant. Kenny B, once we get in the groove and get playmakers in space, it will be interesting. That needs to happen next week at Louisville. Yeah, this game wasn't the end-all be-all for Miami, but did not seem like a step in the right direction. Kenny B, not impressed with the DBs. Hurricane Kilo, Hurricane fans' expectations were too high. We have to relax. I would agree. DJ Ivy, barbecue chicken all game. Pope took a day off your life just with a fumble early. Swampy McGee, good to see you. Hurricanes proud of make-believe and perpetual deceive. Hurricanes proud of make-believe and perpetual deceive. That's deep. Ivy still in the same thing last year, getting burnt. Kenny B, I'm happy we have a playmaker playing quarterback this year. Years of bad quarterback play at the U. Jared, Mark is truly the best at giving objective analysis. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. The fact that I watched Mark since 2016 and only found out that he was an Ohio State fan in 2019 says enough on how unbiased he is. Jared, I appreciate that. That is my aim, my goal. Yes, I bleed scarlet and gray, but I got to admit, the older I get, the less it means to me. This is my pride and joy, us being together here, building our channel. So the two things that come to mind to add on to that point would be, number one, in 2016, Ohio State had a better record than Penn State, had more impressive wins than Penn State, but of course Penn State won the game head-to-head and won the Big Ten. If you would have been watching me at that point, you would have seen me pound my fist for Penn State because I believed they were ripped off by the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. I put my fandom to the side to say Penn State should be in the playoff, not Ohio State. Also, I love it when, and I don't know what I said about the Buckeyes a couple months ago, because there haven't been a whole lot of negative aspects of the program for quite some time. But I got a few Ohio State fans riled up, and they were just calling me a Buckeye hater. It was funny. It was amusing. because I enjoy that, because that lets me know, okay, I'm being successful, trying to hold it down the middle as much as possible. Cornerback will be Miami's downfall. Happy with the overall performance on offense. Henry. Swampy. Yep. Yeah, the Big Ten and the quack grumbles on. That's going to be a heck of a ball game, I think. Miami at Louisville. That week 3 matchup. Like it. Are the college football players supposed to be Civil War warriors? Austin Canes, any Canes fan that's not excited about tonight, didn't watch our train wreck of a season last season. Austin Canes, tremendous point. I think, especially from college football fans that root for elite programs or once were elite programs, the expectations are just a bit much. The expectations need to be tempered just a bit. These athletics are different than any other vocation because of this. There is somebody on the field busting their tail to make you look bad, busting their tail to prevent you from being successful, unlike any other vocation in life. If I'm a teacher and I'm teaching a class, then my ability to teach and execute the curriculum is not being thwarted by anybody else. You know, maybe I got some unruly kids in the class, but besides that, it's all up to my teaching ability and my communication skills. If I'm a salesman, there aren't people that are actively trying to stop me from selling. You know, as I'm communicating with you right now, there aren't like 8 people in my face going like this and grabbing my mic and pulling it away from me. If you get my point, this is one of the great aspects of athletics is the risk that these athletes take every time they step on the field, the risk of embarrassment. Somebody's got to look bad. We could have the 2 best football teams in the world play, and somebody is going to fail. There is always failure. There is always a risk of failure, and actually there's always a guarantee of failure on the field. Think about that. Think about at your job going in every day and thinking, okay, we've got 10 people working on the floor today, and 5 of them not are going to be unsuccessful, but have to be unsuccessful. That's the only way that this works. Half the people here will be unsuccessful and will fail, even if they're really good at what they do. That's the risk of athletics. That is the risk that those athletes take every time they take the field, is looking bad, being embarrassed, and just failing. A loss is a fail. On every particular play, somebody wins and somebody loses. Somebody looks bad on just about every play. Will Canes ever be disappointed over and over again? Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate that. Great show. You're better than the college football pundits on the major channels. I wish you were on a major TV station. I appreciate that. But think of it this way, Mark. If we can build this channel into what it should be, to the point where we can go full time and do it upright with all the bells and whistles and really make the set and the product look good, and I can travel and we can really cover it well. And I've got the entire day, the entire week, not to devote 50 hours somewhere else, but I'm locked in and focused here all the time. Think about this. Since we're not working for anyone else, but this is a establishment right here, our opinion doesn't have to be swayed by a major corporation. Keep that in mind, that our analysis is truth and owned by me, owned by you, your opinion, of course, in the live chat and on the calls, but my opinion owned by me. Anytime you're working for a major corporation and communicate and have analysis, there's some level of control that is lost. He is the voice of Look Bro. Appreciate that, man. If I caught that right. So this is a good point here. I can't say that I actually looked at it, but I don't necessarily think that it wasn't so much that De'Ara King made amazing decisions. He just made the right decisions. He just made logical decisions. He just didn't throw the ball in harm's way like a N'Kosi Perry and Malik Rozier. Rozier never impressed me throwing the football. N'Kosi Perry does impress me throwing the football. And so when he's cutting it loose, and he's making sound, decent decisions. So, for example, when he came into the game against Virginia Tech, they were down 1,000,000-0, I think 28-0, and he just started firing away because they had nothing to lose. It looked impressive because the boy can spin it. But that's not the end all be all. We tend to get caught up on evaluating quarterbacks because they can throw it really far and with a lot of velocity. And yes, that helps. But there are probably only 3 to 5 throws per game out of 30 in which the quarterback separates himself based on his arm strength. Most of it is about decision-making, anticipation, and delivering the ball on time and accurately. Much more important than arm strength. Arm strength, believe me, is important and it helps, but it's down the list. Decision-making. And Miami has failed at the quarterback position there since 2017, 17, 18, and 19 for sure. Shalala and Miami Man Diaz hot seat always. Okay. Anything else I need to hit here? Football is back. I don't know how well I'm going to sleep tonight because we've got more shows to do tomorrow. So Ohio State live at 1 o'clock Eastern time, LSU live at 2 o'clock Eastern time, a very special edition live stream because we have a benefit that we would like to support. Again, that's at 2 o'clock Eastern time on Friday, followed the Ohio State 1 o'clock show. And depending on my schedule and how things work out with those close and dear, near and dear to me, that yeah, we'll get to that, Jared. Thank you for the comment. So again, 1 o'clock tomorrow, Ohio State live, 2 o'clock LSU live with a special charity to help the victims of Hurricane Laura in mind. And if I've got time, I would like to do something prior to Saturday, meaning tomorrow around 6 o'clock is my aim. So we might be live tomorrow at 6 as well to take your calls on the upcoming Saturday games. Jared, Mark, I'm almost 18, but why do I feel old remembering how you used to record with your living room in the background? You mean that? Right there? Mean that? Yes, Jared. 4.5 years ago. Feels like 10 years ago. Yes. Sometimes it feels like yesterday. Other times it feels like, yes, another lifetime ago. From time to time, I feel like I should pull out some of those old videos when they're relevant and do a little throwback Thursday. So Illinois would have been worth staying up for. James, I believe, regardless of the Power Five game, and I when I say Power Five, I just basically say I'm not dissing the Group of Five. I love Group of Five football. I will take in a Boise State, Utah State on a Friday night. Absolutely, I love it. But I can only cover so much, so I focus, of course, on the Power Five first and foremost. Yes, if it was Illinois, who have they played recently? Non-conference and a MAC team, Eastern Michigan. Yeah, I probably would have jumped on here just to kind of give you a quick rundown. Yeah. Sandra, been stuck in Vietnam for 6 months, so that's it. Okay. Sandra, hope all is well. Thank you so much. Love your contribution. It's been great to see you. As Cheryl has said many times, it's nice to see more of the fairer sex in the chat here. Good to see. I got you, James. Thank the Buckeyes for sending me to you. That would be another interesting thing to know. Uh, how people found me. I find that interesting from time to time. Greg Ferguson. Sorry about that. I mixed up a Craig and the late night guy. Is he still on? Craig Ferguson. Funny. I was going to say British. He's not British. He's not Australian. He's something else. He's like Scottish. Craig Ferguson. But this is Greg Ferguson, and we care more about Greg Ferguson's opinion. So, Greg, I can't do this too well because of the mic. Let's get that thing out of the way. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Greg would love to know how long you've been watching. I'm guessing you're a Miami fan. Kaya was all right. I don't know, not Miami or UAB fan, but he seemed decent. Okay, you're not a Miami or UAB fan. There is so much I would like to do with this channel, and this brings to mind one thing, Swampy McGee. I would love to have fantasy football. Like if I had some assistance and more time, yeah, we would do like a fantasy football league. The Voice of College Football Fantasy Football League. That would be phenomenal. And we would do a pick'em league. We would do all that stuff. Jordan wasn't overly involved in the Miami attack on Thursday, but did haul in a 4-yard scoring pass from quarterback to Eric King at the end of the first quarter to provide the final margin. Those were the final points in the game. Yes. James, I feel you, Mark. I'll always be a Cane. However, as the years go by, I find myself being more of a fan of the sport itself because I'm too practical to be fanatical. The scene that comes to mind for me was back in 1998. I'm watching Ohio State go down in flames to Michigan State and Nick Saban. And that was especially important because that Ohio State team was most likely the best team in the country. They were the consensus #1 team. They finished #2 that year after winning the Sugar Bowl, but that was their one loss on the season. They blew a 24-9 lead against Michigan State at home in the shoe. They got too conservative, and they lost 28-24. And there went their undefeated season and ultimately a national championship. And seconds after the game, I'm devastated. My little boy, who was all of a year and a half at the time, is just pulling on my pant leg, just wanting to play with me. He didn't care that Ohio State just lost the #1 ranking. He could care less. He just wanted to play with his dad. And I thought, that's kind of what it's all about. Mark's taking me to task here. I love watching college football, and I caught onto your great show around 7 or 9 months ago. Mark, as I stated the other night, it was fun to see you start to make your comments to me about being the enemy, and I quickly caught on to your humor and reading between the lines that you were just jabbing at me, and it was fun. It still is. And this is what I would like to encourage in the live chat, and we will have moderators when I can get my act together and actually assign them, that as long as people aren't offended and we aren't, let me put it this way, as long as there aren't comments in the live chat bullying people, targeting people because of their gender, because of their sexual preference, because of their religion, because of their politics, I want you guys to lay waste to each other, your fan base, your team, all you want. Have a good time. I've had people complain and whine when their team was being picked on too much and saying, you need to kick this person out because they're picking on my team. And I've looked at it and thought, there's no profanity. They're not hitting any of those hot button issues. They're just making fun of your team. That's why we're here. Swampy, UAB redshirt senior wide receiver Myron Mitchell caught 8 passes for 117 yards. Thank you so much for the stats. Swampy McGee is the official statistician of the Voice of College Football, or the unofficial statistician. Anything that comes out of my mouth at 4:16 in the morning, I can't be responsible for. More stats. See, there you go. More stats courtesy of Swampy right there. Cam Harris, 134 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Off to a great start. Let's start the Heisman campaign. Thank you, Greg. Appreciate that. More stats from Swampy. I know it, Mark. I appreciate it. Swampy, sorry, I'm going to skip some of your stats because I want to get to see if there's anything else that I need to get to from anyone who wants to talk any more about Miami UAB. And again, we are going to be here all day tomorrow. So what you're going to see, yes, thank you, Gator Nation 904. Thank you for asking. Everything is great with myself and my family. I talked to my daughter tonight on my way to work, as she is just finishing up her first week in college, not as a freshman, but this would be her senior year in college. Yeah. So again, on Friday, the lineup looks like this. Ohio State live at 1 Eastern time, LSU live at 2, and I probably will be on here later at 6 or 7 o'clock prior to my work schedule at 6 or 7 o'clock to take your calls on the college football weekend and preview week 2. Look at this from Swampy. Georgia State named redshirt freshman quarterback Cornelius Brown starter for Saturday's opener against Louisiana. Thank you, Jared. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. School in the morning. Oh, my goodness. Suffering from 2 hours of sleep is worth it if it means catching Mark live. Jared, thank you. Appreciate that. Please get some sleep. Please. I know how that is. That can be miserable the next day. There you go. Look at Swampy. That's who I was talking about, Craig Ferguson, who will be, let's see, he's almost 60, 58 years old. Oh, so that Late Show wrapped up, man, time flies, 2014, 6 years ago. Before Craig Ferguson, it was hosted by Craig Kilborn, of course. Jared, Mark, you should start the join the feature. Mark, you should start the join feature for your channel so you could basically have a Patreon, but on YouTube. I'll have to look into that. I don't exactly know what that is. I'm not up on this stuff like I should be. The join feature. Cool. My predictions are available on Patreon. You can join there for $5 a month, a mere $5 a month. So think, how many times do people in this live chat throw me a few bucks? For $5 a month, you get my predictions over there on Patreon. And we also offer exclusive live streams in which we bring you on to talk to me and everybody else that's involved in the live streams. Thank you, Sandra. That's good to know. Thank you so much for the contribution. Let's see, that just came in from Mr. Hudson. Donnie, thank you so much. King is fun to watch, looking for great season and keeping our top 10 recruiting class intact. The future is looking brighter. Yes, the recruiting class has been stellar. Just need to hold on until December and sign those kids. Donnie, thank you so much for the super chat contribution. It's so much appreciated. Swampy with a little spin there, little rhyme for us tonight. Yes, we'll all get some sleep here soon. I'm going to get some sleep here very soon. Mark Rogers Bear Bryant hat eventually. We will deliver some merch here at some point. We will get on that. I looked around for some. I looked at a few different sites the other day. Mark, that Ohio State game was devastating. Yes, it was pouring out rain, and it was really cold. And yes, I too felt the same way. I luckily had to work that night, and it took my mind off of it. Lisa's another young lady who has joined the live chat just recently, along with Sandra. You may have seen Karen a few times in the live chat as well, and of course Cheryl. Lisa, thank you so much for joining me down memory lane. 1998, Michigan State, Nick Saban on the sideline. Little did we know at that point, as he was losing 4 and 5 games a year for Michigan State, that he would be coaching 6 national championship teams. Baby Shack 569. This is a first as well. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Good to see you. K Brew 25 Canes. Satisfied with the game overall. Not bad to look at. It's good to know. Well, at least when I've slept a few hours, that helps. I apologize for how I deliver some of the content at times. Sometimes, I haven't slept and, I'm just a bit ragged. I know a lot of people that start YouTube channels or want to start YouTube channels, and they're very concerned about their appearance and want to make sure that they are just looking their best all the time. I am not good at that. Sometimes I will get comments from usually people that know me personally, to say, Mark, why were you shooting a video at 3 o'clock in the morning? You looked like you got hit by a truck. Like you looked pretty bad. And I'll look back at it and I'll be like, yeah, I do not look good there. And the one thing that will be nice when I get I'm in the process of looking at cameras and better lighting. That should help my appearance significantly. But thank you so much, Sandra. I appreciate that. But hopefully the new lighting and cameras will even help me out a little bit more. All right, everyone. I appreciate it so much. The 5 o'clock shadow. Yeah. I've got to say the significant other has her mixed views on the 5 o'clock shadow. Good to look at. Doesn't feel real good. All right. Anyway, Craig Ferguson, Karen's while Mark Rogers keeps growing and knowing. You guys are too much. Lisa, no, we're all over the place. We are all over the place. This is the reason, Lisa, you need to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell for the notifications, because I can go live at any time. And I'm going to, in the future, do my best to be consistent on at least going live. This is the one time that that I will be live, will be Sunday night. Sunday night, typically at 10 o'clock Eastern time. We do our Tuesday night Florida State show live at 7 o'clock Eastern time. We are consistent with that. Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, Florida State, but I take calls Sunday night at 10 o'clock Eastern time. So I'm going to do my best to be consistent with those. I would love to be consistent. I would love to be able to say, hey, every night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then you guys would know like clockwork. Or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 o'clock Eastern time, or noon, whatever. But unfortunately, because of other things in my life, we're inconsistent with our call-in show times. Panero 5, Piero, thank you so much. But again, if you subscribe and turn on the bell for the notifications, you will at least be notified. Yes, this would be not one of those kind of Karens, Greg. So, all right. Money coming your way as soon as I get home. You deserve it. Well, Sandra, thank you so much. Any way that any of you can contribute does not have to be financially. Believe me that your contributions in liking the videos, sharing the videos on social media, this is something I've emphasized recently, just because think of it. You guys are out there on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever else. And if you drop those links out there, those people have no idea that my channel exists, no idea that we're here with you all every day, and probably will never find out without you. So you have influence out there that I don't have. So anyway, that you can do this anyway by leaving comments, liking the videos, sharing the videos, and of course, subscribing. And then anything financial would be phenomenal. I would love to not put the financial burden on all of you. I appreciate the contributions. They're phenomenal and will help get us to where we need to go. Believe me, they are put to good use to get us to where we need to go. But beyond that, to be able to find the sponsorships that would really drive this. So to take the YouTube advertising, supplement that with sponsorships, that would be phenomenal. Based on my research here on YouTube, and it's been substantiated a number of times, so I've not just gone to one source, but dozens of sources. Once you get to 5,000 subscribers, they say that there is no reason why you can't have sponsors. The problem is going out and finding the sponsors. I've not been successful doing that. But in terms of rolling up the numbers that justify a sponsor, yes, I'm told that once you get to 5,000 subscribers, you should have no issue with getting a sponsor or two or three. And if we could cover, based on what YouTube and YouTubers, I'm talking about the elite YouTubers, say that you can receive for a sponsorship per view, we should be able to roll with this. Even though the numbers aren't huge, like I cranked out probably my last 10 or 15 videos only have like 200 views each, which is nothing and not good. But even where we stand right now, which is nowhere close to where we will be, we should be able to get sponsorship. So if you have anyone in mind or have any connection to anyone who might want to sponsor, whether that be the entire channel, all of our content, or any specific content, whether that be Miami content or Michigan content or whatever that might be, please let me know. I am going to bid everyone adieu. We most likely will be back with Miami talk if you're looking specifically for more Canes analysis on Saturday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. And then we'll go right into our college football Saturday coverage. But again, tomorrow, Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern time, Ohio State Live, 2 o'clock LSU Live. And then later that evening, I expect to do a call-in show to preview week 2 right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Thank you so much for staying up late, getting up early, doing whatever you had to do to join us live.